God split the earth open at the mid-oceanic ridges, and water ejected out of the earth at supersonic speeds because of the tremendous pressure of 197 million square miles of the Earth's oceanic and continental surface area.
197 million square miles. That's just about the surface of the whole Earth. We'll keep that in mind for later.
That is 10 miles, up to 10 miles of the Earth's crust.
Wow, Neph, it wasn't that long ago you were claiming it to be 6 miles. Did you have to revise your math?
And dirty water rushed out of the Earth's atmosphere, froze in space to become comets. The comets that come past the Earth once in a while, which science proves cannot be 10,000 years old because of the rate at which they burn up as they pass the sun. By the way,
that is an unfounded lie, but do carry on.
And these comets, which were water inside the Earth, pelted the moon.
Now, you haven't even considered Newton's third law. You know the one. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The water would exert a force on the rock, thus arresting the full effect of gravity. Try dropping a brick in a bucket of water. Now, you told us that the whole surface dropped, remember? How could it fit in a lesser volume? It couldn't, of course, just by fracturing along the oceanic ridges. For pity's sake, man, think, will you? The only way the whole crust can drop is by multiple fractures, which again would arrest the effect of gravity as they pushed against each other. And here's the rub, why is the whole crust not in disorganized chunks? Let's not forget that the oceanic crust is on average 6 miles deep, and the continental crust is on average 20 to 25 miles deep. How does your 10 miles of crust across the whole globe fit into that? Look, I know that Thunderfoot has disproved this nonsense with maths, and that you have failed to respond with maths of your own, but you have never been able to provide evidence for this subterranean water anyway. Then you claim supersonic speed. Where is your maths? Where is your evidence? By the way, you can fire a bullet in the air at supersonic speed and it will not escape the Earth's gravitational pull. That's why rockets need sustained propulsion to escape Earth, something which your ejected water would not have. You also make the wrong assumption that the water stays in large drops to form ice of any meaningful size. Have a look at this little experiment I did. Yeah, an experiment. So that body of water in the cup which I threw up with my weaker left hand still broke up into smaller droplets. The water was breaking up while it was still on the up to a height of just about 12 feet. You can try the same with a hose, even though it has sustained pressure, no matter how fierce the initial jet. So you either have to do an experiment of your own, or at least do the maths. In other words, either put up or shut up.
And that's why we have a microscopic thin layer of water across the largest percentage of the moon's surface facing the Earth, and craters on the moon with ice chunks in them, because comets pelted the moon from the Earth.
Are these the same comets that disappear beyond the outer reaches of the solar system?
Ice, which was water ejected from the Earth during the early stage of the Noachian flood. But you see, this water took rocks with it and debris.
Oh dear, rocks, eh? That's even more energy you have to account for, should you ever have the guts to do the maths. But this is only speculation. No Earth rocks have actually been found on the moon. Water has been detected at the North Pole and in the shadowed areas of the craters, but not in chunks. Also, generally in the lunar soil, according to NASA, there is the telltale chemical signature of water in the form of hydroxyl ions. There is certainly no claim of a thin layer of ice. And why just the side facing us? Have you visited the dark side of the moon? Come to think of it, why are there craters on the dark side of the moon? Oh, I know. You will say that as some rocks passed, they were captured by the moon's gravity and hit the dark side. But this means that they had a less direct trajectory, so the craters on the dark side should differ to the near side. Have you checked that out, Neph? Did these ice rocks also cause the non-volcanic craters on Mars? And what caused the craters on Mercury? Surely you're not going to tell me that the chunks remained as ice that close to the sun.
And they're stating that the moon is littered by rocks blasted from out of our planet by asteroid impacts.
Yet again, no, they are not claiming anything of the sort. They are merely speculating.
They find proof of the flood of Noah, you see, and they have to claim something else did it. Oh, asteroids slammed into the edge of the Earth and shot rocks off of it, hit the moon. Right. Sure.
Actually, it has been calculated by scientists. They're the people who work with science. That as a meteorite or comet strikes, debris can be accelerated to escape the Earth's gravitational pull. The moon is receding, and we know that it was much closer to the Earth when the events that NASA are describing took place. If we extrapolate the moon's current rate of recession, 3 centimeters per year, over 4,500 years, then it's hardly moved. So the energy required in the scenario espoused by real science is far less than that required by your unscientific guesswork.
Here's an article from NASA. Many tons of rock from the Earth are found on the moon. But they claim it was a heavy bombardment from, oh, that's what did it. Yeah, meteors struck the Earth and knocked bits off and it hit the moon.
Meteors, Neph? I think you mean meteorites.
Right. You know, that doesn't even seem feasible as far as physics is concerned. That would have had to have been some kind of massive meteors, you know. The hydroplate theory, okay? This is science now. Pay attention.
As I restrain myself from banging my head against the keyboard, when the hell have you ever applied science to any argument? Seriously.
God says he split the Earth open. Guess what we find? We find the splits in the Earth, that they're called the mid-oceanic ridges. They go around the Earth like the seam of a baseball. God says water shot out of the fountains of the deep. He opened up the fountains of the deep. What we find is exactly what we would expect to find if the flood were true and the Bible is right. We have the cracks in the earth, and along the edges of those cracks, water is still coming out. The mantle rock has been pushed up to seal them off now. And guess what? The Bible even tells us that's what happened. God says he closed up the earth in Job.
And yet, just a second ago, you said water was still escaping. You and your Bible are literally unbelievable. And how many more times are you going to say that they have found earth rocks on the moon, when they haven't and they're just speculating? But here's another little gem for you to consider. Though we haven't found earth rock on the moon, we have found moon rock on the earth. How did that happen there? Did your sky daddy cause a great lunar flood that shot great amounts of debris towards the earth? Surely that would have been mentioned in the Bible. Come to think of it, why doesn't the Bible mention ice chunks from Earth hitting the moon? Hardly an insignificant event. I hate to say this, Neph, but it's all a pile of crap really, isn't it?
And there might be even creatures, organisms, that were brought there from the Earth. It's possible. It would seem they would be destroyed on impact. I guess it's possible.
Maybe, but that would be microorganisms. If your model is right, then we should find traces of mammals, and especially fish. You guess they may be destroyed on impact? In that case, so would the rocks in which they were contained.
All this supports the Noachian flood to a T, folks. To a T. The evidence couldn't get more clearer.
But get a load of this, dear viewers. You see, it wasn't long ago that Neph had a video, now deleted of course, explaining the impossibility of having water on the moon. As soon as NASA confirmed that water had been detected, the creationists had to do a quick about turn and do their usual of manufacturing so-called facts to fit the findings. What a bunch of dishonest crocs. And on top of that, to support his predetermined views, Neph reads from genuine scientific sources, but still manages to get it all wrong.
Hit me with your rhythm stick. It's nice to be a lunatic. Hit me, hit me.